Welcome to Anime Recapped. Today I am going over a 2016 Japanese anime drama movie called A Silent Voice. It has been rated PG-13 and contains spoilers, so please watch responsibly. When the film starts, we are introduced to a depressed teenager called Shouya Ishida, who is about to take his own life by jumping off a bridge but stops midway. We are then taken back to the boy's elementary school days when things were much simpler. We see an energetic and carefree young boy who'd enjoy every single day with his friends. But everything changes when a new student called Nishimiya Shouko transferred into the boy's classroom. The new girl has captivated everyone's attention, especially the boys, as she's completely deaf. When Shouko first arrived at her new school, most of the students tried their best to make sure that she felt comfortable. However, as time passed by, they grew tired from having annoying conversations with a girl who only communicated through writing on notebook pages. Seeing how a girl in his class was getting a little annoyed by Shouko, Shouya decides to bully her by mimicking her style of speech. After this, she becomes an outcast and most of the students in her class ignore Shouko. With every passing day, the acts of bullying against Shouko get harsher, from small talks behind her back to Shouya repeatedly ripping her hearing aids out of her ears and throwing them away. Yet, despite how mean everyone was being, Shouko would smile, apologize, and try to make friends. The bullying reaches a climax when Shouya forcibly removes Shouko's hearing aids, causing her to bleed from the ears, leading to a very public outing of Shouya, who gets called out by the classroom instructor. Although there were many culprits, Shouya's friends singled him out as the sole culprit. When Shouya returns home, his mother takes him to see Shouko's family. Shouya's mother steps up to compensate Shouko's mother, and also rips her earrings out of her ears to make up for the pain that her son had caused. On returning to school the next day, Shouya realizes he's now an outcast, and he becomes a victim of bullying too. Unable to cope with his current situation, Shouya takes his anger on Shouko, and the two get into a physical fight. After the incident, Shouko transfers to another school. Now branded as the guy who bullied a deaf girl, Shouya faces further isolation. Shouya is unable to make new friends and is constantly reminded of his past mistakes. He faces isolation throughout middle school and high school and falls into a deep depression. The scene shifts to the present day. After Shouya's failed suicide attempt, Shouya goes to return Shouko's notebook at the sign language center and apologizes, but then panics and uses sign language to ask her if she wants to become friends. At first, Shouko is confused, but then she decides to give Shouya a chance to prove himself. The next morning, Shouya's mother finds the sum of money that he had been saving for her for when he'd be gone. His mother tells him if he doesn't stop thinking about ending things, she will burn all his hard-earned cash. Shouya apologizes, but his mother unintentionally sets fire to his entire savings. Afterwards, Shouya goes to his high school, and here we see the introverted Shouya, who has become a complete shut-in with no friends and avoids eye contact, envisioning an X mark over people's faces. The next day, Shouya finds another student from his class getting harassed by someone into giving him his bike. Shouya takes a stand for the boy and gives the bully his own bike instead. Shouya is on his way back from school when he decides to visit Shouko again at the sign language center and takes a loaf of bread with him. However, a young boy by the name of Yuzuru blocks all of Shouya's attempts to see Shouko and poses as Shouko's boyfriend. As soon as those two split ways though, another character comes into play. Tomohiro, who had been busy trying to find Shouya's bike all day, had come to return it. Tomohiro ends up becoming Shouya's first friend. After a few days, Shouya decides to meet up with Shouko again. Yuzuru gets in his way again, but Shouya still gets to have a meeting with Shouko. Both of them finally become friends, and they decide to feed the fish some bread. While trying to return Shouko's notebook, Shouya accidentally drops it into a river. He then jumps in to retrieve it, an action which goes against the law. Yuzuru takes a photo of Shouya jumping in and posts it online to get revenge on him. The picture of Shouya went viral on the internet and led to his suspension at school. Shouya goes out to get his niece, called Maria, from the park. There Shouya finds Yuzuru, who ran away from home, and brings her to stay at his house. When she leaves in the middle of the night, Shouya follows, and the two make up and become friends. Yuzuru finally reveals to Shouya that she is Shouko's little sister. Once they reach Shouko's home, her mother walks out and slaps Shouya on the face without uttering a single word. The next day, Shouya meets up with Shouko again and introduces her to his first friend at school, Tomohiro. Shouko tells Shouya that she wants to meet up with her old friend Miyoko Sahara, a classmate from elementary school who was friendly to Shouko. Shouya finds Sahara's new school and the three finally have a reunion. On his way back, Shouya also finds his old classmate Nayaka, who had also bullied Shouko alongside Shouya. The next day, he decides to go and visit Nayaka's workplace, but she ditches him. The day after that, Nayaka suddenly appears out of nowhere and sits at the back of Shouya's bike. She apologizes to him for completely cutting contact when they were kids. The two see Shouko standing across the road. After seeing Shouko, Nayaka quickly runs towards her and forcefully takes her hearing aids off. Shouya asks her to stop what she was doing and returns Shouko's hearing aids to her. The next day, Shouko decides to change her hairstyle for Shouya and gives him a gift and confesses her feelings for him. But because she tries to speak her affections rather than signing them out, Shouya mishears her. Shouko runs away embarrassed. When Shouya goes to school the next day, he realizes that his classmate Miki had also changed her hairstyle. He asks her why she changed it, but she does not give him a straight answer and tells him that her friend Satoshi wants to hang out with him. Shouko does not show up at the meetup after school, so Shouya starts to feel like she is avoiding him. Shouya invites Shouko to an amusement park with Tomohiro, Miyoko, Miki Kawai, another classmate from elementary school, and Satoshi Meshiba, and she agrees. When all the friends reach the amusement park, Nayaka also decides to show up and hang out with them. For the first time in a very long time, Shouya feels like he is having fun with his friends. Nayaka voices her feelings of hatred for Shouko, blaming her for creating a rift between her and Shouya, with whom she is infatuated. When Shouya disagrees with her, she drags Shouko with her to ride the Ferris wheel. The next day, Yuzuru, who had been secretly recording the encounter, shows up at Shouya's place and shows the video of this to Shouya. In the video, Nayaka told Shouko that she hates her and does not want to be friends. In reply, Shouko explains that she does not hate her, but she hates herself. Nayaka gets very angry after this and starts beating up Shouko. After watching the video, Shouya explains to Yuzuru that he wants Shouko to like herself. The next day, desperate to remain blameless for her part in bullying Shouko following the leak, Miki exposes Shouya's past to the students who were oblivious to it. It creates a rift amongst the friends that Shouya had gained while trying to help Shouko. Miki believes that Shouya is the only person who is responsible for bullying a girl so much that she had to change schools. This is when Nayaka snaps at Miki and asks her to stop blaming Shouya for everything. While all of them are arguing, Shouya just sits down and asks them to stop. Shouya blows everyone off, shuts everyone out, and takes the complete blame for everything that happened. Shouko and Yuzuru's grandmother passes away. Shouya decides to cheer up the sisters by taking them to the countryside during the summer break. Shouya decides to devote his entire social life to making Shouko happy. He tries his best to create a happy and cheerful persona of himself. He is able to help Shouko experience a bit of happiness during this time, although his actions also drive Shouko to become ironically unhappy as she blames herself for everything that's happened to Shouya and his friends. Yuzuru and Shouko invite Shouya over to their place to bake a cake for their mother's birthday. Because of his actions previously, Shouko's mother despises Shouya, but consents to allow him to stay when he helps Shouko bake a cake. At the birthday party, Yuzuru invites Shouya to go watch the fireworks with her family. During the fireworks festival, Shouko goes home before the others, under the guise of finishing homework. Shouya follows when Yuzuru asks him to get her camera. When Shouya reaches her home, he sees Shouko standing on the balcony. At first, he thought Shouko was admiring the fireworks, but then Shouya quickly realizes that Shouko is trying to end her life. Shouya quickly runs towards her to save her life. He succeeds in grabbing her and pulls her back up but falls into the river below. He is rescued but gets rushed to the ICU and slips into a coma. In the aftermath of Shouya's admission to a hospital for his injuries, Shouko's mother and Yuzuru express their apologies for what's happened out of guilt despite reassurances from Shouya's mother that things will be alright. Nayaka also shows up at the hospital and starts to beat up Shouko, blaming her once again for everything that had happened. Shouko's mother shows up and starts fighting Nayaka, but Shouya's mother comes between the two and stops all the fighting. Shouko cries and apologizes to Shouya's mother. To repay Shouya, Shouko reaches out to his old friends and explains to them what happened. One day, Shouko dreams about Shouya saying goodbye to her, and this prompts her to run to the bridge where they used to feed koi fish. Meanwhile, Shouya wakes up from his coma and runs frantically looking for Shouko. He stumbles upon her at the bridge and they both apologize to each other. Shouko feels immense guilt for what happened to Shouya after she left. However, Shouya wants Shouko to continue her life without that guilt. After confessing that he also once attempted to end his life, Shouya asks Shouko to help him continue to live. When Shouya returns to school, he gets extremely nervous and finds it very hard to look anyone in the eyes. He is reunited with his friends and comes to understand how much they still care for him. It's school festival day and Shouko is there to support him. At this point, Shouya no longer avoids eye contact with other people and the X mark on their faces falls off. Looking around at his family and all the new friends he has made, Shouya tears up, knowing he has finally redeemed himself. And that's this anime recapped. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.